right, welcome everybody to Coffee for Closers again. Another week in the books. I'm here with Mr. Jeff Tallarino.
Hello.
Jeff, thanks for joining us again. We're talking all about the federal leads program, the federal program in general. And we have a very, very, very special guest with us today. We're talking with two newbies to the Megastar team, Miss Susan and Mr. Rich Kepler out of the Seattle, Washington area, who are new to the federal program as a whole. First time in a federal marketing program like this, right, Jeff?
Yeah.
And I think they're about 10 years in the business, and we're going to pick their brains a little bit about why they wanted to come and join Megastar's team and what kind of brought them over here, but then also talking to them a little bit about their initial experiences here working with you guys, right?
Off to a great start.
So before we bring them in, let's just talk a little bit about some of the, data points right now with the program. Mm-hmm. So the program is all about, we have a huge database of federal employees that subscribe to FEBA, and we are offering them a one-on-one appointment with our federal retirement consultants across the country. And I know you have some data that you wanted to spew out here before we got going. We are approaching how many leads this month? Where are we?
We're going to be over 700 when we're all done.
So 700 across the country?
Yes.
In just 1 month of marketing?
Month. Yep.
That's fantastic.
It's crazy, yeah.
And so the Kepplers have not been a slouch in that area either. How many leads have they generated in their first couple weeks?
They are at 36.
36.
Yeah.
Now, this program's completely paid for. It's not something that advisors come out of pocket for or anything like that. But we're going to bring them on here. We're going to bring them onto the show, and we're going to just pick their brains a little bit about that. So without further ado, Miss Susan and Mr. Rich, are you there?
We are here.
Welcome to the show.
Howdy.
Thanks for being here with us.
We're glad to be known as newbies.
Newbies to the Megastar ranks, but high-profile advisors nonetheless. For a number of years, you guys have been on some of the most major trips in our industry. I guess I always want to start off with, obviously thanking you for your trust in joining the Megastar team. But what intrigued you the most is always the first question I would like to ask folks. What intrigued you the most about even taking a look or consideration at what Megastar was offering?
Unique marketing is, I think, the biggest issue. And a close friend patting me on the head and saying it's going to be okay. Getting a little buy-in helped. But I'd say marketing. We've perfected over the last decade teaching classroom workshops at community colleges.
Right.
We're on the faculty of 4 schools. Well, we want to duplicate that. Our goal was to duplicate that with some manner. And we landed on the TED space, again, at the kind of promotion and pushing of a good friend.
Right.
And it came up that you guys are it. So, we chatted back and forth and, hey, we're happy to be here.
Yeah, no, and it's been an absolute delight. I found it very interesting that you two being people that were doing a lot of college workshops as far as like at a community college, a number of different community colleges, if I remember correctly. Isn't that right, Rich? A few different ones?
We have 4 community colleges.
4 different universities. And so you're out there teaching and you're actually on staff with these folks. So you had a pretty good thing going, and this COVID-19 thing hits and all of a sudden you're stopped at the mercy of them.
That is true. That is true. Yes.
So I know that was a big issue, and something about, obviously the Fed program was there, and your longtime friend had obviously just joined the ranks as well and had spoken some words as to our program over here. Now let's talk a little bit about your first couple experiences. So you get going, you start working your leads. How was it? First off, with the team internally, how did you enjoy the onboarding process and then getting going? Was it seamless? Were there some headaches? What did you guys need to do to get up and running in front of these federal employees?
Well, the first thing we had to do was learn how to spell the word virtual. which was
Yeah.
we got that down. And it's you have to, having done a lot of platform speaking and a lot of I'm the instructor on staff.
Right.
And by the way, the only reason we push the envelope to get on staff is we get to use the school's logo on our mailers.
Yeah, huge
Nice.
benefit.
So that means we get a higher percentage of hits and people coming to the class because we look like and act like we are the school,
Sure. Yeah.
which is the thing. But it was very seamless coming on. We've worked it out now. We've had a half a dozen virtual, what is it, UCloud?
Appointments.
What do you call it? Who is Google what?
Google Hangouts.
Oh, Google
Google
Hangouts.
Hangouts, that's right.
Yeah, it's worked out very well. We just instruct the people on the other end what to do because we've done it a few times. We practiced a few times on each other
Sure. Yeah.
just to make I'm looking at the top of your head. Could you move the screen a little? Little things like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And very seamless. And I'll tell you, my surprise, you're not doing any cold calling here. These are prospects that opted in for an appointment. So I literally have people sitting, waiting for my call and telling me, if you hadn't called in the next 90 seconds, we were calling you.
Really?
So it's
Wow.
really warm. I mean, I've had a couple of people say, "Oh my God, I didn't write it down. Can you call me next Thursday?" Yes. Okay. No problem. But for the most part, I'd say, of the 34 responses I think we had, we got 20 of them actually on the phone.
Wow. Good conversion.
And
They wanted to move ahead.
that wanted to move ahead.
Got more than that on the phone.
Oh, yeah. But
it's-
5 people said, I thought it over and I'm just not interested. Thanks a million for calling. See ya.
Gotcha.
Okay. And we have 6 in the loop we're actually doing hard proposals for right now, 6 people. So that's, and we're going to drip on the ones that, by the way, said, yes, we want to move ahead. And then we send them an email about their materials, but they haven't responded.
Right.
So we'll zero in those, and there will definitely be some more that'll fall out of the woodwork. But it's a very receptive call because when I tell them I'm an FRC, Federal Retirement Consultant,
Yep.
and we're a vendor with the federal government, and that's why we're calling. We do these reports for free, no obligation. Do you have any questions before we get started?
Right.
And they have a few. I've learned enough about the Fed space, having been very new to it.
Mhm.
But I'm a student of learning, so I jump in there and got it pretty much, taking another course on Fed involvement. So I'm getting up to speed. Plus, I have a built-in tutor, my friend who's done this for about a decade, but he's only done Fed work.
Yes.
So he's ultra specialized in this. And candidly, through your association, Megastar, by the way, I want Megastar to put the star in Rich and Sue.
There you go. Yes.
So-
It's the plan too.
Our game plan is to take our practice from a pretty decent level, making a decent amount of money, and go on all these great trips that these vendors throw at us, which we call vacations.
Yep.
And then really focusing, our mentality is going to be doing the schools and the workshops and doing the workshops for federal agencies. And we're in it up to our eye sockets, and we're not going to back down. I mean, we looked at it, we understand it, we're in the deep end of the pool, just where we want to be. And you'll learn to swim real fast. So we like to go into the deep end.
I love it. And you guys certainly have. You've jumped right in there. And so for those of you on the call today or on the show listening in that don't understand exactly what we're talking about the one-on-one appointment leads. Now, Jeff, you and your team are at the front or at the helm of this. And essentially what happens is we've got so many subscribers, about 1.2 million federal employee subscribers across the country. They shoot in, they subscribe to the content that we put out, the Fed Benefits Show, our webinars that we do, seminars, all the different things that we do under the FEBA banner. And what happens are every month or every other week during the month, we shoot out an email offering for those that have questions about their retirement picture that they can sit down with our local federal retirement consultants that we have stationed all across the country. And so Rich and Susan, they are federal retirement consultants in the Seattle area. So when we shoot an email out to those subscribers, anybody that says they want an appointment in that area, in that radius that they drew, it goes directly to their calendar. They select a time and a date that they want to do that appointment, and then the Kepplers will reach out to them, either reschedule if it needs to be rescheduled, or just go ahead and start having that first appointment.
It's great because the federal employee is taking the initiative to set that first appointment.
Exactly. And so Rich, Susan, you've seen that impact of the difference between somebody that, you're booking an appointment after a workshop versus the federal employee going out of their way to book a time and a place. So they're actually like waiting for your call, as you said. Right. I'm intrigued to hear more about that. So the first calls, how do they typically go with these federal employees thus far?
Well, I'll tell you, it's kind of like talking to my neighbor. They somehow have figured out, Fed. Okay, I'm not even sure what is put in front of them. I have seen a few things. But on a scale of 1 to 5, the call you're going to make is a 4.25. I mean, they just assume you're one of them.
Right.
And I'm not exactly sure how they get that feeling, but it is real obvious. So it's not a, who the hell are you? It's not that kind of call at all.
Right.
It's a very, he's waiting for your call. I mean, it's just, at that stage, I call it very warm and fuzzy. You haven't sold anything yet, but they really hone in on you're there to help me understand my benefits. Mm-hmm. And that is exactly what we portray. We tell them right up front, there is nothing for sale here. We're here on your benefit, on your time, and we are a federal vendor, and we do federal benefits analysis and reports. And if you want one, you can have one.
Sure.
It is a lot different than the workshop appointments. Yes, we have met the people that we are calling for an appointment, but even so, this works out really well. That these people they want the information, and so
right.
It's really good. The people from the workshops, of course, want the information also, and they have a more of a feeling of what we are going to offer. However, I think that probably the closing rate is going to be higher with the Fed employees.
That has a lot to do with, at least I found in my time here, is the fact that it's a niche market. There's just not a lot of people that doing it, and there's certainly not a lot of people that are truly knowledgeable. So when you're able to first glance or first call, maybe even second call, provide them a report that's super structured. And I know Rich, we were chatting just before this about the reports you're giving, but if you're able to give them any sort of report, you're going to end up going above and beyond what they've seen to this point in their career. And so it does create what I like to call an open arms appointment, but a warm and fuzzy appointment rather than arms crossed. We're not buying anything today. And
yes.
I've seen a lot of that. So let's talk a little bit about the appointment process or the reporting process. So when you guys are jumping in to offer a benefit analysis, talk to us a little bit about what you're doing from or what you've been starting to do from a benefit analysis point of view.
Well, right out of the chute, I tell them, we're chatting back and forth, and I'm getting information from them, and they're asking me questions. And I ask them right up front, okay, where do you work? How long have you been there? And I want the exact date because it helps. I ask them about their salary, about just doing a fact finder.
Right.
And they're very comfortable in sharing the information. And I also get the spouse involved. I want to know your husband or your wife's income. I want to know what they do.
Yes.
Because, this is a community property state. It's a bigger picture. You don't want just a report on you. Don't you want to report on your family? Yes, of course. Makes all the sense in the world.
You never get any pushback
And then we tell
from
them,
that, right?
so, we're going to look at Social Security. We're going to look at everything. Then we ask for information. We want their TSP statement. We want their FERS statement and a pay stub. Basically, that's it. Except if there's outside brokerage accounts or anything, I want those statements as well.
Or at least the balance.
Or at least the balances. I'm not going to be pushy about it, but for them to make the next steps and move ahead, I'm going to need all this information.
Right.
And they understand that. I send them that in an email along with my biographical profile, so they know who they're dealing with, and it has a picture on it, so it's a little more, that guy, okay. And it's warming them up a little. At that point, when we get the information back, our job, which has been laborious, as I must admit, we have not used the track software before. We are now.
Yeah. Have to learn it.
A bit of a learning curve. A bit of a learning curve with that. Yes.
There is. They have been very responsive, and Susan's been on the phone with them for a few hours of instruction. They're just walking through. No, that goes over here. This goes over there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we're blending that with some software that was made available to us from someone who's been very involved. We're just pumping up the volume a little, Dab, to make it look and more of the tax and income strategy reports that we put together for clients from the workshops.
You're beefing it up. You're beefing up that software a lot, right? I mean, like you're giving them something with a little more substance. And for those that don't know what the track software is, it is a software that specializes in pension plans. So you're talking nearly every state pension plan across the country, the federal pension plans, of course, and it allows you to incorporate those pension qualities, so your pension, your TSP, your FEGLI life insurance, all the different benefits that you'd have working in for that department of the government, alongside some spousal assets. So, so you guys are beefing that up even more so, huh?
Yeah, well, we are in this context. I have always asked in the class, every time you make a financial decision, you should ask what's in it for you.
Sure.
The world knows what's in it for everyone else, but when you're 55 or 60 or 65, you want to know what's in it for you, and it's not a rhetorical question. I want to see that in writing.
Yes.
So what we're delivering to them is a report, and I summarize the report in a cover page, a summary letter, and I sign it. So I stick my neck in the noose a little, Dab, because I am a financial fiduciary. I'm obligated to do what's in this person's best interest and be able to prove it.
Right.
So we deliver to them, and I'll tell you, they're very impressed with this fact. You're going to get not an online report. I'm going to deliver to you a 15 or 18-page report to your home for you to read, and we're going to go over it together online on a virtual system.
So you're giving them an actual mailed copy?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful.
A hard copy. And it's bound in genuine leatherette.
Oh, wow. Going the extra mile. You like that, Jeff?
I like it.
That's unique. Absolutely. I like that. So then you go over it over the phone or over a Zoom meeting with them, page by page?
Yes. Typically, it takes, and I tell them, it's going to take about an hour to walk through the report. And they say, oh, that's fine. Because we're going page by page, line by line.
Yeah.
We're not skipping. We're not going from, I'm going to walk you through the whole thing, and then I'm going to make sure that you reasonably understand what we've just done. So they have a working feel. Oh, that looks good. This is where we are. This is what those benefits mean. And this is if I retire. And then I tell them to give me the time. When do you think you're going to retire? And I don't call it retirement. It's when are you going to graduate from work?
Man, you've got the great mannerisms, great sayings. Yeah. I mean, I'm saying that just...
One of my clients in a workshop, and it just stuck.
Yeah.
So, we give them that. We walk them through it. Here's where you are. Here's, based on what you've told us, a reasonable expectation of where you can be, and here's the avenue to take advantage of it if you want to implement your plan.
Beautiful.
And then I asked them, do you have any questions? No, this has been great, and oftentimes you'll get, well, what are the next steps?
Right.
And when I hear that, my smile gets much more broad.
Yep.
Because when they ask me about next steps, they're serious to move ahead.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And then in that proposal, by the way, we've shown them what we've determined for them to move ahead with. We don't hold it back and wait until let's do it later. No, we give it all to them pretty much up front and walk them through it. We are their advisor now. That's the role we're taking. So they can ask me anything. They responded online. Therefore, this is free, no cost, no obligation, and I'm your guy if you want me.
Right.
So we go back and forth a little, and it's pretty comfortable. We don't push them for a decision like right now. You got to sign.
Right.
Let's take this one step at a time. But if you do want to move ahead and implement the plan, here are the next steps. And then we give them that in writing. So they're comfortable and they know, this looks pretty good to us. I asked them to come up with questions, think of this harshly because this is your life on finance. We got to get it right.
Yeah.
And so we take it that level of seriousness, and we tell them, if you hire us, you got us. We're with you all the way. We have a succession plan. We're here to stay. They love hearing that you're an FRC, by the way.
Yeah.
And I can even remember what that is because I took the test and passed it. And when you tell them that, matter of fact, I had to correct one fellow from the IRS the other day. And just to give a little case study, this guy makes $150,000 at the IRS.
Okay.
He's got $600,000 in his TSP. Mm-hmm. His wife makes $250,000 as a lawyer in Seattle.
Wow.
Their value of their 401k plus TSP is $1.19 million.
Ooh.
I had to correct him, however, when he said, gee, we really want to know what our report is from the federal government. I said, and he asked me, are you a federal employee? I said, no.
Mm-mm.
No, I work for a major federal vendor, and we specialize in the federal marketplace. We only do business with federal employees.
Sure.
Well, that's not quite a truism, but guess what? We do hold that out, and the disclosure was very nice. I mean, it was, okay, well, and I've had a couple of people say, well, how do you get paid? And I tell them, it's no secret, it works very well. This is a very fluid going back and forth with these guys. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, they come into the meeting at about a 7.
Wow. Well, that's higher than most.
And what you're trying to do, get them way down the food chain and just talk to them, answer their questions. I now know enough in the federal marketplace that I can converse with someone without feeling, oh my God, what you can ask me? I don't know anything. Well, you learn real quick that it's no different than any other scenario of 403B or 401k or 457 plans. These people just have to be in the federal space. But the benefits flowing to them are for everyone else in the civilian side of the aisle as well.
Sure. Well, and for all you guys listening that don't know what the FRC is the Federal Retirement Consultant designation, and that's a FINRA-listed professional designation that FEBA created, the company, the federal company we're talking about, FEBA, created as a training mechanism for all the advisors that come in. And you made a good point there, Rich, because I think that one of the biggest concerns of any advisor's life is, how that objection of how do you get paid? Why are you contacting me? Especially in the Fed space, they're scared of that objection. And I always tell people, just be honest with them, because the truth of the matter is, if we just think about it just for a second, the only people on God's green earth that would want to learn federal benefits to the extent of being able to help somebody plan their retirement, other than OPM, which is their Office of Personnel Management, their HR department, who has graciously and grotesquely failed at doing that sole job, is going to be a retirement planner. So, of course, you're going to make money on doing that. But that doesn't mean that's our sole objective here. Our sole objective here is to teach first, educate these federal employees first. And yes, if you're looking for some help in this area, then yes, utilize my services. Absolutely. There's no anybody in the area that knows your benefits better than I. But if not, I'm going to give you advice on how to part and go on with your merry life and plan a healthy, happy retirement that doesn't quite involve me. It sounds like you guys are already of this mindset, but I always encourage advisors to put the head down to the grindstone, help everybody that comes into your office, and the money, the production, the revenue will come from just good old-fashioned hard work. And it sounds like you guys have been of that mindset since obviously well before your Megastar days started.
That's what's kind of striking to me.
Right. What was that, Rich?
These are real live leads from real live people who have real life jobs, and they work in the federal marketplace. So the fact that they've asked for information and we're answering questions, we are doing a report for everyone that wants one, period.
Right.
Whether they're 57 or 67. If they want a report, they're going to get one. It comes in phases, however. There's the basic, there's the advanced, and then there's the Excalibur version.
Right. You get packages.
It depends on their age and what they can do and their assets.
Right.
But, they've asked. You can't blow past them because, remember, they work in a federal office. And if you do well for them, they'll speak up for you.
That's right. Good news travels fast.
Yeah.
And so does bad news too. Right. Bad news. So if you're not helping those people and you move forward, that could screw the pooch as well.
Yeah.
They will say that faster than praise.
Yes.
So you have to be careful. You have to. I want to send them off with a smile on their face and, hey, that was a really worthwhile call. That guy helped me. I got some more information, and look at this report. I got a report. A friend of mine that I've known for several years works in the Fed space, and last year, and I trust him, he told me he got 110 referrals from his business. And by the way, 60% of those became clients. So, that's a statistic that is hard to beat in the public civilian side. I've never had that kind of results.
No, you won't see that anywhere else.
There's a couple of things that I wanted to point out. About 95% of these leads do not have an advisor, period. 95%. And they're looking for, the map to the minefield here. They want to know, gee whiz, what's in it for me? How's this going to work? And they're very hungry for information. Oh. And I must admit, I had a couple of them comment that their HR department's a disaster.
It is.
It takes months to even get acknowledgement.
Yep.
And they often send them back information that's incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, 1 out of 6 comments from the IRS is wrong. And 1 out of 5 comments from Social Security is wrong. So, knowing a lot about that, I can correct some of the falsehoods that these guys are carrying around with them because we're going to give them a report on paper bound in genuine leatherette and send it to them, and we're going to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
So they have a written document in their hands, and they're very, very porous and receptive. I would say, the fact that every single person I've talked to has been at home, that's a story in itself because a lot of these guys have been, go home. You're not an essential, go home. And some of them are not going back to work in an office; they're going to stay at home. So, a person at Megastar commented to me, "You can't be a one-trick pony." Well, I'm doing workshops in schools. The schools are closed. So I just became a less than one-trick pony. How about a no-trick pony?
When you come to Megastar.
And Megastar, this has been,
a great
experience, because I look down the road and, I look at all these agencies and federal offices. I've got a card that says FRC, and I've got Megastar behind me. And you introduced me to the Dillards.
Yep.
That's been extremely helpful.
Yep.
They're having done this for 30 years.
Yeah.
So the combination of everything that's going on, I like to clench a fist. And if I can get 5 benefits out of a circumstance, I can always win. And between the feds and the workshops, which will probably start up in January or February, something like that.
Yep.
But having multiple fronts working, receptive fronts. We don't do any cold calling. We don't do any of that stuff. No. I want to figure out how to get in front of someone when they're on a scale of 1 to 10, a 7 or an 8. Well, if they opted in and set the appointment, or they're a federal employee and I've got the FRC on my card, and I'm calling on their agency with the permission of their agency, I mean, you can't get any closer to, you're a member of the tribe. You brought in. You're one of us.
Right.
Great. Really great feeling.
It is. No doubt you guys will continue to experience success in this. You guys are doing all things right. We are unfortunately short on time. I want to pick your brains more, and I'm definitely going to bring you guys back on as you guys progress in the whole program. Jeff, thanks for being on. Rich, Susan, is there any parting wisdom that you want to give us before we sign off the air here?
Well, I've been here about 3 weeks. I felt comfortable enough to refer in another colleague of mine who just asked for, "Gee, Rich, what are you doing now?" We were both at a prior IMO, and I don't do that lightly. I take some real time and effort. If I'm going to refer someone in, I want to know that it's the real deal. And I would call Megastar, and I'm not trying to get any baseball caps sent in the mail, but I'm just saying it's a real deal. They have the avenue for marketing, the knowledge, and the support and the backup. So this has been a steep learning curve, but we do not feel like we're drinking from a fire hose. It's been easy. Just do the work. Make the calls. They're receptive. We're going to make I think we could make a success out of just working the internet leads.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you guys were off to a great start. Well, I mean, we are so excited. I can't tell you. Everybody here has just loved working with you both to this point, and we're so excited to have you guys on the team. I know you guys will be super successful in your ventures with all of this, but thank you for the kind words. Thanks for sharing some wisdom with us, and I cannot wait to get you guys back on the show. If you're an advisor out there that has any sort of questions on how to get going in the Fed space, you feel free to reach out to Megastar Advisors. It should be right here on your screen right now. Give us a call any day, anytime. You can get in touch with Jeff or myself here. Thanks for joining us here on Coffee for Closers.